All right, guys, so right here we're working on the SV2 again. Here it is posted up behind me. So the issue that I'm having is that the GSXR forks run into the radiator that I put in. I don't know if that's because it's an aftermarket radiator or if it's just an issue with doing the GSXR fork conversion. I didn't see anybody say anything about that online when I was trying to research it and figure out if, what was going on with it. So we're gonna take a look at this. I decided we're going to drill and tap some holes into the frame where the landings are for the steering blocks. And we're just going to screw in a couple of bolts there. The heads of them should be long enough to keep everything from running into everything. And if it isn't, I can just back them out a little bit. I'll put a little bit of Loctite on them. So let's take a look at what we got and we'll start working. All right, so here we are. I got this GSXR fork set kind of, I want to say mocked up. Everything fits, but I've got some more parts coming in. This isn't gonna be its final form, but I think the issue I'm having, I don't know if it's an issue with this radiator or with these forks. So this radiator was a cheap eBay special. It had some pretty good reviews. It seems to work really well. It doesn't leak. It's got all the bungs and attachment points in all the right places. All these brackets were in the right spots, which is one thing that I read a lot about, people complaining about cheap radiators. But it looks good and it appears to function well. We'll see what kind of longevity I have out of it. The only issue that I really had with it was that these mounting brackets were just a little bit flimsier than I would have liked. They bent a little bit easier than I would have liked when I was mounting it. I'm trying to, just gotta wedge it in there and, kind of wiggle it into place. Everything bent back pretty easily. I'm gonna keep an eye on them. I don't see any cracks or any, reason to believe why they aren't strong anymore. But I'm gonna keep an eye on them. But the issue that I'm having is that the fork runs into the radiator here. So we've got these steering stops here on the GSXR fork triples, and then that little landing right over here on the frame. Now those are supposed to line up really well, supposed to work perfectly. I didn't see anybody else online complaining about this being an issue, but let me show you what we got going on here. As I turn all the way around, I hit my radiator right there, and we've still got, you can't really see, you've got a little bit of a gap in there from where it's not hitting that. It does the same thing on the other side. So what we're gonna do, let me get out of the light here. We are gonna take the front end off. We're gonna put it up on a jack under the front so that all this stuff is out of the way. And we are going to drill and tap a couple little holes in there and put in some little screws. I think the bolt heads will be more than enough to keep that from hitting those. It'll limit my steering left to right a little bit, but I don't think it's enough that it's gonna bother me in day-to-day riding. So we're gonna try that out. If that causes me issues, then we'll reassess at that time. So let's get started. All right, guys, do as I say, not as I do. Don't do this. So I've got the bike up on the jack stand, up on the rear stand. I took the front end off. As you can see, it really only took me about 10 minutes to get torn back down. Then I put a jack over here under the oil pan to lift up the front off of the front stand, and that allowed me to drop out the bottom triple because I have to be able to get access to these two landings here, and I can't with the triple on there. I was really hesitant to do this. I wanted to do like I had in my previous video with the ladder over it, but my ladder was somewhere else and I wasn't in a position to run and grab it. I had done this previously. I don't think I posted anything about it, maybe on Instagram, but when I was putting new tires on it, I had done this, but with the front end on, it caused too much weight coming this way, and so the whole bike kind of teetered on that center point there, even with the jack as far as I could get it on the oil pan, and it kind of teetered and tipped over even on the rear stand. But with the front end off, it's got enough weight behind that. It's actually really sturdy. So we are going to, as quickly as I can, so that I don't knock this over accidentally, drill and tap two holes here. You can see I've got these little landings where the steering stops hit. So we're gonna drill and tap holes in there. I've got an M6x1 drill and tap set. and a couple of M6 stainless screws we're gonna put in there. Like I said, that should space those far enough out where I don't mar up my radiator anymore. Because as you can see, it's just riding around the block. I've got little dings in here already. So that's only gonna get worse with time, and you know, this will sacrifice a little bit of turning radius, I guess. I don't know. Realistically, on a bike, it's not that much when you're moving, you know, more than literally walking it. So this might make it have a little bit harder to turn around, like in a parking space or something, but I'll just do the old kickstand spin trick if I need to do that. So let's get to drilling. Yeah. 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 Huh? Hmm? Yeah. That's what I like to see. All right, so I'm working on getting this little guy assembled here. And I don't have a tool to torque this appropriately. I may try to buy a big socket and grind it down and make one, although it's gonna be a lot of work. But it's, you know, 60, 70 pound-feet of torque, something like that. And I've got it cinched down, and this is just a little, I don't know, crunchy isn't the right word, but it's like there are like indentations in the bearing race. So I am gonna go ahead and replace these bearings, which means that this will come apart again at some point in the near future, but I'm gonna replace those. So we'll chalk it on up to the cost of doing business, cost of buying cheap bikes, and another learning experience, because it's another thing that I haven't done. So we'll keep on plugging. I am gonna put it back together for now, just so it's all in one piece, easy to roll around the shop if I need to. So let's get trucking back on that. All right, so we have got everything put all back together. We got this GSXR front end back on this SV650. As you can see, we have got my bolts in there, drilled, tapped, installed, and no more contact, which I like quite a bit. Does that on both sides. Like I mentioned, I'm gonna have to take it apart to redo the bearings anyway. When I do that, I am probably gonna take these bolts out and grind them down just a little bit. As you can see, they stick out. They are threaded in all the way as deep as I drilled and tapped. They are a 6 bolt, 6x1 by 12. That was the shortest one that I could get at the hardware store quickly and easily. I thought it was gonna be deep enough that I drilled, but the tap that I used has a narrower end there. It didn't tap all the way in. Easy enough. I'll just take those out and grind them down just a little bit, so that way they are flush. And then we'll keep on trucking. Keep on putting cheap busted ass parts on a cheap busted ass bike to try to make something halfway worth riding around. Hopefully we can get that top triple in soon. We'll do an unboxing and installation video on that guy. And then we can really start making some progress, because at that point I can get my handlebars on, I can get everything mounted up. I'm probably gonna have to get new throttle cables and maybe a new clutch cable. I think the SV650 I clutch cable is the same as the S, which is what I've got on here. It does seem quite a bit longer than what I need on here, so I think it's probably gonna be okay. Those throttle cables I think I'm gonna have to replace though. I can probably just get the in cables. This is an S with the bodywork, and the N is the upright standard one with the bar risers like it came. So hopefully we can get that all taken care of soon. At that point, I don't know, maybe I'll throw the bodywork from the other one on this one and go get it tagged so I can cruise around on it and give it a good shakedown. I don't know. I'll keep you guys posted. We'll keep on trucking along here. What is it the Cleveland Moto guys say? Ride fast and take chances. Da 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 da.